Hello, my name is Wahid Lutfi. In this video, I'm going to show you some sysadmin tasks. Let me go to a slideshow first. So as you can see, I'm going to train you or mentor you on this one with a system administration task, which are commands like RPM, YAM, DNF, and subscription manager. RPM stands for Red Hat Package Manager. YAM is Yellow Dog Update Modified. DNF is a undefined version of YAM. And Subscription Manager is to register the Red Hat VMs that you, or servers that you just want to install the software into the Red Hat registry of repositories that you can just use RPM, YAM, DNF for it to download software and from the repository of Red Hat. So on the second page, I'm going to show you what is RPM, YAM, DNF, and Subscription Manager. As you can see from the command line, the what is command can take one argument or more than one argument. And I'm just as a regular user, I'm not root. When you run the what is command, it does not require a sudo or root access. So you can say what is RPM, YAM, DNF, and Subscription Manager. And you can see they're all section 8 of manual pages. And the 8 represent the section 8, which is the system administrative part of the manual page, section 8. And then here, RPM, Red Hat Package Manager, it just tells you the what is section, give you one-line summary of what is RPM. And then for YAM, Yellow Dog Update Modifier, that one is redirecting to DNF command line interface, the newer version of YAM, and DNF is a DNF command reference. Subscription Manager, as I mentioned, is also section 8, register system to Subscription Manager services. You can also use access.redhat.com portal page, which I'm going to show you later on today. You will see how you could do these ones. And as I have already opened a virtual machine here, this virtual machine is running here. Let me just go to this. On my Windows machine, I'm running virtual machine. And you can see here, this says running. And right here, as I go to the actual virtual machine, I can type in those commands. So before I type in any command, I need to know what operating system, the host name, what is the name of the host name, and then what is the version that I'm running on the operating system. Cat etc os-release will also tell you that one. And since it's a Red Hat, you can also do Red Hat-release, that will tell you, or cat etc star release will just give you all of them. Since we know that we're running on enterprise version of Red Hat 9, I'm going to just say, what is RPM, Red Hat Package Manager? And you can see that is the answer from the operating system side. And what is YAM, Yellow Dog Update Modifier, is redirecting to DNF command line interface. What does that mean by that redirect? So if I say which YAM, then you can see user ben. And if I say it is user ben YAM file, user ben YAM, then it's going to say it is symbolic link to DNF. So if I say ls minus LD on user ben YAM, then it's going to just show the symbolic link. This slash on the first character, I mean the L for the first character, represent the pointing to the symbolic link. And also this character that is pointing here with the arrow here, this one is just saying that it's a pointer or an alias name. The slash here and the root here, the first one, is pointing to just making sure that it is a symbolic link. and DNF3 is the binary version of this. So if I say which DNF, and then, or what is DNF first? What is a DNF? Notice that it says DNF command reference, same thing as before. But if I say file of a user ben DNF, that is also symbolic link to DNF3. So if I do ls minus d on user ben DNF, that also shows that it is a symbolic link first, right here. That symbolic link with the L pointing to it, and this arrow meaning that DNF is pointing to a binary that is DNF3. So if I say which DNF3, then it says that, and then now type of user ben DNF-3, it tells you that this actually DNF3 is pointing to that one. But if I say file, to get the file of it, it says it's a Python script ASCII text executable. So it's a Python script DNF3. And if I just do ls minus ld user ben and DNF-3, you can see that it's not the symbolic link, it's a regular file. This dash means it's a regular file, and this is the name of the file, and this is the size of the file that's here. So if I say word count minus l user ben DNF-3, notice it's about 62 lines of Python script. So I can do a more on user ben DNF-3 to actually see the code one page at a time. And you can see this shebang user ben Python 3, it says that this is a Python script that is running there. And then all the pounds or the comments here, and then the from future double underscore method, which is magic method or dunder method we call it, import Unicode literals, and then import sys. All those modules get loaded, and these functions are defined, and then more information with path and all the arguments and everything else is defined. So the difference between DNF and YUM, DNF is a newer version, and it is more robust. It is an enhanced version of YUM. That's why it's called Dundified or enhanced version of YUM. And at the same time, it's very efficient in memory and performance-wise, because it is required less code, and makes also a lot of things that we used to do with YUM. It is backward compatible, because all the commands that were used by YUM, it's also supported on DNF there, since it was symbolic link. And then if I just do what is subscription manager, you get that information. So now remember I showed you on the PowerPoint, I could say RPM, YUM, and DNF. All four of them, I could just do it in one line. So what is section, you can type in as many as you want. If you just want to add another one, say Nginx, for example, you could get the information about Nginx. But Nginx is not installed. If you have installed HTTPD, you will get that one. But I have to install Nginx. So if I say which HTTPD, you can see that it is HTTPD is installed, which Nginx, which I'm gonna later on show you how to install it. It is not installed there. So then you have to use the commands to check it. Let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation, so I can just have a structure to help you out with teaching. And then by doing this, you may understand more faster, and then get it to know it better. So the next page that I'm gonna go slideshow again, and then we already covered this too, and then I'm going to do what is RPM. RPM stands for Red Hat Package Manager, and it's a Red Hat kind of package manager, not like Ubuntu distribution. Ubuntu has similar to RPM, but it supports RPM as well, but Ubuntu has apt-get, apt-cache, all of those ones, apt-install. You could do a lot of things with apt repository, application package toolkits. That's what apt stands for. But we're discussing here RPM, which is the Red Hat package manager. And then by default, if you just say RPM question mark or RPM dash dash help, it will give you the entire usage commands for RPM. You can also use RPM dash dash usage and display a brief message for the RPM syntax. If you do a dash A or dash dash all, it queries the RPM package manager for a given name of a RPM. And then you can do dash A or dash dash list to list packages, dash E to erase it. So I'm going to show you, for example, maybe we could use some of these commands there, but again, RPM, YUM, and then DNF, they all can be used interchangeably. If you have a repository that a file for Git or maybe HTOP or some software that you don't want to use the DNF or YUM, which doesn't make sense because you're on Red Hat 8.9, 8 point something or 8.x or 9.x, it's better to use DNF because that's the newer version and it supports everything that the older version works plus more. So the enhanced version of YUM and RPM. But if you're on an older version of Red Hat, for example, Red Hat 6 or 7, then you might need to just use RPM or YUM since DNF was not introduced until later on Red Hat 8. So in that case, you might have to go to RPM finders, get the .rpm files, download it, and with wget or something, then you could do these commands like RPM -E, and then the package name, the RPM file name, then it will erase that RPM if it's installed, or -I to install it, --I install it. And then this hash -H and then I and V, all of those ones could be put in one command line syntax. So RPM -IVH would be installing something. RPM -EVH would install it with verbose option, and then at the same time give you a hash for progress of that one. And just --just DB update the database, but does not modify the file system. That's something like a dry run that you could do. And then the -Q for query to see if a package or RPM is already installed. You can do a -QA query all and then get the name of the package or do a grep on it, which I'm going to show you some of those ones on the command line as well as this presentation page already. And the query tags is displaying known query tags that you could see what are the known query tags there. --U for upgrade. If you want to just update or upgrade package, you can do that one with --U. And notice if you want to do the --upgrade is equal, then you can give one package or more. So that plus means if you have more than one package, you can just put them separated by a space or comma. Sometimes certain ones takes a comma, certain ones take an argument. I haven't checked it, which one it is, but I believe it might be just separated by a space. And the -verbose is also --verbose or -v for verbose. And you can do RPM --version, it will give you a version. If you don't want to get the verbose option or the hash information, you could do --quiet, and it will be less detailed output. And then --provides, you can also find out with that one to see what is the name of the repository that brings this binary that you're trying to find out. For example, if you say, well, there's a command called make, or there's a command that called nginx, and then I don't know what package it is there that I have to enable that package or RPM, then you could just say RPM dash dash provides, and then the name of the binary, and it will tell you. Here I'm showing you some commands with RPM-QA, and then the backtick is syntax here. And instead of just looking for eval-release package, I could do that one as an argument to the RPM. QL means query long listing, and it shows if the package is installed already on my system, it will just give you the list of the package repositories for it, the yum.repo.d, and then it is showing there that it's already there. And then yum repo list also give you the same kind of information here. And then the next command that I'm doing here is RPM minus QL and then $, the subshell. So you could just pass an argument from within the subshell here. Okay, so let me just show you this part on the actual Linux operating system, and that way you understand what I'm talking about here. It is a little bit confusing over there if I don't clarify it here. So that if I clear my screen here, say RPM minus QA, it queries all of the sub packages, right? So everything that is RPM here, I just did with this one. Q means query and A for all. Now, if I just look for grep minus I eval, I could do eval and just say what are the eval there. But notice that if I just do this one, I could also take this one as an argument to RPM minus QL, give me a long listing of all those packages, and I could use the backtick here between that command. This command says run the RPM minus Q query L long listing of all the files. At the same time, while you're running it, then check just pass in this output of this command into an input of this RPM-QL. So that is what this is going to just give you that. Similarly, if you just, instead of the backtick, if you use the $, and then just do that, and it will just do this. Basically, $, RPM is minus QA, grep minus eval runs, and it gives you the output of it. So similarly, if I just do, rather than eval, I could say, give me HTTPD. And then it will just do the HTTPD there. And if I just say, let's just look for the HTTPD, but then I want to see the binary, grep minus I ben. Notice how nice it is there. Let me just see what I did here. Grep minus I, HTTPD, and then so something I have to parse it here properly. Let me see if this one is giving me the argument already here. Yeah. So the way this would work is that if you just get this argument, then you say grep minus I ben, and then you will see a list of the binaries here. If you do this one inside here, that query will not return the output that this command RPM-QL needs. So once it get the output, then you pipe it to the bin directory, then you say, okay, this is systemctl and other commands that are part of the binary of Apache, then it will just list it. So if I just am interested in two of the command, I could say egrep minus I, and then I could say within the code, I could say Apache CTL, and then also HTTPD itself. Now I will only get those that are used by HTTPD as well as Apache CTL. So if I just clear a screen, and then since there's a lot of HTTPD, I only want one of them, Apache CTL, you can see that is there. And then if I say system CTL status Apache 2 HTTPD, the binaries on Red Hat is called HTTPD, and on the Ubuntu is Apache 2. So when you see that process, I have disabled it, it's not running. I can start it, but I don't at this time. I'm just showing you how to do this stuff here. So now if I want to do RPM, we did this RPM here. Let's just look for -QA in Nginx. And it is no argument given for query. So the RPM-QA in Nginx, it's not returning any result. That's why it is not there. Okay. So if at this time I want to just install Nginx because it's not installed, which Nginx, and then you see it's not there, then I need to run some query to do it. For example, I could do RPM-QI Nginx. QI means give me information on that package. It says it's not installed. You can also do a QC for if it was installed, it is going to give you a list of configuration files and check on the configuration files. So at this time, I'm going to use yum to install it. If I do yum install Nginx, remember I was telling you the yum repo list has the list of all the repos that are there, which is also on etc yum.repo.d directory. Those are the list of them. Similarly, DNF repo list will give you the DNF repository list, but there's files in the etc yum directory, and then yum.com file is there, and also on the DNF there. But what I'm showing you here, let's minus etc yum.repo list repo. So you can see repos yum.repos list. So you can say yum dot and then repos.d. That is the directory, and if you want to see the content of it, you could see this. But I was showing you the Nginx. So now if I say RPM-QC Nginx, it says it's not installed. I could see as which Nginx, it's not returning anything. I'm going to install it. Yum. If I just say yum install Nginx, I don't have the root privilege yet, because I am I logged on as Wahid here. ID-UN, it just tells me that I'm Wahid. So I'm going to become root first, and then you could do it two ways. Either become root or run it with sudo in front of your command. So if you run this command here and just type in sudo one time, then you could just type in the password. It will go ahead and do it. But if you have to do this kind of system administrator task all the time, then you have to be careful to just run the command with root access. That way you don't have to type in sudo every time, but make sure that you know what you're doing. Because with the sudo in front of your command, you're at least checking one thing. And if you are not sure of something, maybe give you options to just type in the password. By that time, you realize that no, I don't want to erase a package. But with the root access, when you do it, then you are already a senior level. You already know that you're very careful and you have avoided those kind of junior level mistakes. And it could happen to anybody, but you have to first make sure that you're in the right machine, at the right directory, what you want to do, check all of those ones. double check it and before you do it. So let me just say, I'm going to become root first. And I could do sudo su dash. This command tells me that switch user do. Sudo does not stand for super user do. It is stand for switch user do. Because I could type in here what Wahid, or I could type Murtaza, whatever the user you want to switch, you want to get that privilege. That means it's going to prompt you for the password of that person. If I say this dash, it is almost as if like saying root. So dash meaning that as you switch user to do that task, I want my profile to be changed to the root profile. So I'm going to just type in, notice my ID dash UN is already showing root, ID dash GN also showing group root, and then my PWD is already showing /root. And you can see echo $ PS1 is also pointing to the /u for meaning the user, which is root in this case, and then /h, which is the host name, local host. Local host dot local domain is there. If I just say cat -d dot minus field 1, and then it will be in localhost as the name. Uname dash n also shows you that localhost. Again, you have to do cat -d dot, so you don't have the field 1. If you want a field 2, dot means a delimiter, the separator. So in this case, if I want to get the local domain, which is the domain name of the site, then I could do -f2 field 2. But let's just check for the package in Nginx. So I could say yum yum search Nginx. Since I installed it, it shows that all the packages that are related to Nginx. So at this time, if I just clear the screen, and instead of search, I could say info, give me info on it. And every command that you can run on the yum repository, you can also run it on Nginx, on DNF. So DNF is yum plus more, meaning that a dundified version of yum. It's an enhanced version of yum. So in this case, when I do yum info Nginx, I'm seeing everything about Nginx, a package that it is there. I can also run the command list on it to see that is the case. And remember the command I said provides. So if I say provides, then I could say yum provides, and I see the name of the RPMs, that the repos that provides the Nginx there. And then clearing the screen, which Nginx, which Nginx, it's not installed yet. Let me just see which Nginx. I might have not installed it yet, so I'm going to install it now. Say yum. I am going to use yum first, and then later on, if we want to use DNF, we can use DNF. Yum install Nginx. It says it's already there. So why is it not Nginx? Maybe I thought, I typed in the which earlier. Nginx, I typed it wrong. It should be Nginx. I was typing Nginx, like a Unix kind of things. Nginx. That's why it's found, and when you do install it, it's there. And so at this time, if I say systemctl status Nginx, you see that it is installed, but it is disabled. Disabled meaning that it will not start on the system by default when your system starts. Nginx is listening to port 80, is a web server kind of interface for it, similar to Apache HTTPD is a lightweight Apache web server. So I mean, a lightweight HTTPD server. So if I just go say ls-l lib system d system and then start engine X, basically engine lib system d system. Okay, so I'm a very Unix guy. I always make a typo whenever I meant engine INX rather than Linux or Unix, Linux. So that is Nginx, the service. So that means I could do systemctl status on the Nginx to get the status, which we are already installed it, but see if the service is up and running. The file that nginx.service file is the actual service. So I could say, just show me the content of that one. If you see that one, it is basically all the directive are there. At the same time, you could cat it, and you can see that it is just listening to all the default port and everything. And then nginx -t will give you the syntax of if it is good or not, nginx -t, if there's any configuration syntax. And then rpm -qc nginx also give you, and now echo $, question mark is successful 0, meaning that nginx is installed. So I say systemctl start nginx, and then now nginx is running system status nginx. You could get that information as well. And you can say systemctl edit nginx and all other ones. Watch my other videos about systemctl, but at this time nginx is up and running. So what does that mean? I can go to a web server, and this is my other terminal that I just opened, and I'm logged on as Wahid. So if I say which Firefox, on this local host, I'm running user bin Firefox, so I can start Firefox here. And then now this is there. This is the default page that comes in from file, but I want to go to http://localhost. That is the nginx port. So you can see here on the bottom, it just says nginx right here. This is saying that it's a version Red Hat Enterprise Nginx is listening to port 80. And notice this is not secure port, it is HTTP versus HTTPS. So if you go to HTTPS, this will not resolve. It will not resolve. But if you just change it to non-secure, HTTP Hypertext Transfer Protocol port 80, this is going to just take you to http://localhost, and then that will just take you there. Notice at this time I'm going to shut down nginx using this command here as root. And so we just say nginx stop. When I do the stop here, and then now I'm sorry, the stop, there's 2 T's. So when you do this status now, it is stopped. And then by stop, meaning that I go back here on the browser site and refresh this window, and then it's going to just say it's not running. Then I come back here on the local host on the command line again, and this time I just say, I could say restart. Restart meaning if it is a stop, it is running, stop it, and if it is not running, restart it. So that restart is similar to a start, and now it just did work here. Again, if I go back to the browser, which is this one, right here, and then I refresh, I should get the page. And then you can see Nginx is up and running. Okay, so whether you use YAM or RPM or DNF is your choice and what platform you're using. I'm just going to show you some of the ways you can do this. So at this time, I am done with the browser. I'm going to close the browser, and this Firefox here stops. So now I'm back to this command line here. And then at the same time, on the other window right here, I'm going to say systemctl stop Nginx. Now Nginx is stopped. I can see that it's not running status. And then that means the service is disabled, it's not there. But if I say which Nginx, Nginx, it's going to show you the binary. So which Nginx is going to show you the binaries there. If I say yum list Nginx, it will tell you that it is installed or there, and that's the RPM that is in front of it, that is available on the upstream. At the same time, I can use yum and then remove it, or I could use DNF to do it. So it's your choice. Whichever one you do, you have to write the proper command for it. And then in this case, yum remove would be the right command. If you do RPM, RPM minus E for the name of the package, the RPM you have to provide. And then this case now I removed it with Nginx. So if I just do the same command with DNF, I'm going to install different things with DNF. You don't have to do same package for all of them. It gets a little bit boring. I'll just show you some more there after I show you more on the command line. So we were on page 5 here. Let me go to the slideshow again. And then I'm going to just go like as a summary for you so you can see what we have covered already. And then we were on page 5 and this is page 6. Now we already covered YUM, but I'm going to give you what YUM is and all the details here. On this page 6, I'm going to show you YUM, which stands for Yellow Dog Update Modifier. It is the newer version of YAP, which was previously called YUM Updater, or Yellow Dog Updater. Right here, Yellow Dog Updater. This one is basically the name for it. And then it was called YAP. YAP was replaced by YUM, Yellow Dog Update Modified. And then the version of Red Hat 6 and 7 and even 5 were using RPM and YUM. RPM is still used on Red Hat 8 and 9 and later on, but YUM has been, as I showed you, is been kind of deprecated, as end of life with Red Hat 7, and then moving forward to Red Hat 8 and 9 and other ones, it is a symbolic link to DNF-3. And DNF itself is also the dandified YUM version of the Red Hat repository Red Hat Package Manager, the newer version, and it is symbolic link to the DNF-3, which is a Python script with 62 lines, as I showed you. So when you do the system update, every time you just bring the kind of new VMs or new server online, whether it's the development, testing, integration, you need to make sure that all your packages are up to date. In order to do that, one, you run the yum update -y, meaning that go ahead, update it with all the packages that are just on the repository that are newer than mine on the local machine. And then the double ampersand is the and symbol. In this case, it's like a Boolean expression So if this first command succeeded, then run the second command, yum upgrade dash y. So it does both of them at one shot in one command. You don't have to be doing like a semicolon and then running that one. The ampersand, the double ampersand, meaning that it's an AND operator, a Boolean AND operator. You can run multiple commands. You don't have to be sitting in front of the computer for one of them to be finished and then run the second command, or even writing semicolon. If the first command failed, the second command will not run. That's what the difference between the double ampersand versus semicolon. If you're a developer or sysadmin, you're well aware of those information. What is DNF? DNF is the down-defined YUM version. DNF is a newer version of YUM, which is enhanced. It is much more better in memory. YUM sometimes used to kind of freeze if the repository was missing or some configuration was there. But DNF is much smarter. It handles memory more efficiently and everything else. So when you do a DNF followed by a space and list command, it lists all the packages that are there. DNF list WC -L will do the same thing. And the word count -L give you a word count on all of them. DNF list -- install, it shows all the list of the packages that are installed, and then DNF list -- available will show what is available for you to install. And DNF repo is going to give you the repo stuff. At the same time here, I'm showing you some more commands, like if you want to get a package name, that which I showed you on Nginx, a package name, you could do a DNF or yum search. The same thing that you can do with DNF, you could also do it with search, because with yum, because yum is a symbolic link to DNF. So every command that you can do with DNF, you can also do it with yum. Unfortunately, yum will eventually be deprecated, and then you don't know when it's going to be there. So better to just be ready and practice with DNF commands. DNF info package name will give you the information. DNF update will give you updates, will update the package name. And this package name could be one or more package, it doesn't matter. You just separate them by space. DNF upgrade package name, and then we'll do an upgrade. And then DNF install will install it, remove will remove it, as the name says. DNF clean and clean all, and then clean repo cache, all of those ones will be just, so from time to time you need to clean up the old repository for the cache for DNF, to just, if you're running out of space, especially on yum or DNF, if you have a smaller size, you might need to do DNF clean or yum clean or clean all. DNF module list is also a very good command. So you type in DNF module and then list, and it shows you all the modules there. Before I go to subscription manager, let me just cover on the command lines a little bit more of what we want to do with DNF and yum. So coming back on the Linux machine, Red Hat machine here. So the first thing that I want to do is say yum a list. And you can see that since it's pointing to the same one, I could say dash install all the list of all the packages that are installed. And if I want to do a word count -L, I could get that one there. Let's just change that one to a DNF to show you that basically they're pointing to the same one on both of them. And then the next one, I'm going to also show you, DNF list -- available Okay, now I'm going to show you how to use DNF commands with some of these options that you have. So DNF, if I just type in a DNF repo list, you get a list of the repositories there. As you can see, DNF directory here, etc DNF.conf file has the configuration file for DNF, as well as similarly for yum. There's yum and yum.conf file has etc yum directory, and then etc actually under the protected version. So cd to etc yum, and then cd to protected, and then there's a dnf.conf file, there's yum.conf file, and systemd.conf file. All of them are just pointing to the actual name there. You can see. So at this time, I'm going to just go back to my directory here, and then clear a screen and say DNF search for Git the repository, GitHub. And this is Git CVS and all those things that Git is really cool for version control system that you could do. So if I say which Git, you can see it is not installed. At this time, I'm going to say DNF provides a Git. What is the name of the package that provides it? And I get the list of the packages. So if I just say DNF info Git, it will give me the package information on the Git package itself. So if I say DNF install Git, I can just get it installed. And now it's going to prompt me say that, yeah, I will install Git from that version information from that repository, and then Git dash core and Git dash core doc and all that information. Do you agree? I say yes, go ahead, do it, and it's going to install all of it. Now I have installed it. I could say DNF list Git. It will just show me all the packages that were installed on the Git. Remember, on our -qc Git would just give you the query check, and if I say query on info, and it will just give me similar information here, pipe more, and that I say that, okay, information on the package Git. So RPM, you could also get it like that information, as well as I say RPM -QA, and then grep -I Git, then I get a bigger list here. The last 3 lines or 4 lines were not there before, the Git dash core and all other ones, because I did the install, it is coming here. So let's just say DNF remove Git. I'm just going to uninstall all of it and just run the same command here. Notice that those last ones are not there, and that I was just doing it. So at this time, if I just want to reinstall it, I could just say reinstall here. And then let me just change it to install here. See if it sees it. I'm going to say no this time. I'm not going to install it. But before I install it, I want to see something about the RPM itself. So RPM -QA, grep -I Git. And you see the list is so huge. I don't want those information. Those are not the one I want. So I could say, let me just say DNF provides Git, and I get exactly the name of the package that I need to install, the RPMs and everything. At this time, I say DNF install Git. I say, yeah, go ahead, install it. If I say no here, and I just could just run the command with -y here, it's not gonna prompt me for yes or no. It's gonna just automatically do it. But you might want to just not put the -y in front of it. You want to just prompt it so you can double check what it is there before you install it. But you can also say which get, now it is installed there. File user bin get is the binary executable link format, and then the type of this one user bin get is just showing you that that is what it is. Type -a for all of it, you could see exactly same name. At this time, system CTL status, Git is not a service, so this Git.service does not make any sense here. But when you run the remove on it, you could uninstall it here. Git git -- version will just show you the version that we installed it here. And then rpm -qa grep -i get will just give you a lot of information, but the one that we want to do it's from the RPM 2.39 is the one that there. So if I just say RPM get -2.39, then it's going to be more specific here. That is the version that we did it. Here you can also do another RPM -QL, and then just remember that subshell, you can just pass it on as a subshell and then query with a long listing of these files. And then I'm going to do a more, so it will just stop one screen at a time. But it is not that many, so I just showed it up all here. And then if I just say, and instead of this 5 more, do a grep -i for binary to see if there was any binary that is there. I could get a list of them. So RPM -QL and then get -2.39. You could also say it's not installed there. 239. Let me just double check what was on this command list here. It was one of these commands that I did, and that showed it right there. So if I say RPM -QL and get -2.39.1-1.enterprise linux 9-x86_64-bit, you could do that one and you will see that it is not installed here. It says it is not installed, the same package name that is showing there. So I'm gonna just do this command and hit -1. Now I get only that one. Then I could say while read var do RPM -QL query info $var done. And then the query info, it shows that that package is query information. So instead of query info, I could say query with long listing. And now it is there. So maybe when I didn't do it programmatically, I might have had a typo with dash or underscore or the 9 or the 8 or whatever number was there. I must have mistyped one character. But when you do it programmatically, it finds it for you. And it will just show you that that package is there with all the information related to that. Obviously, you can check for more commands like that to check it. For example, if I just want to get RPM -QA and grep -i, let's say get, there's so many of them, right? So if you just want to say this one and then say while read pkg for package name do, and I say file $var and say echo working on $. Actually, clear the screen here. Let me just do while $package, and then I say do echo working on $PKG. Now, please wait. Okay, that's good enough. This thing is there. And then I could say, let's say, run one command and DNF info and $PKG. You could do that one and then done. And then notice that for each command that it is doing it, there it is just going to run the command and then we'll wait 1 second or something. I could put a sleep 5 seconds to read all of these packages as it's going through them. But programmatically, you have more options to do a real system administrative task for more than one server. So you can do these kind of works on the fly, even run it as a cron job to get the information, generate some reports that you can produce it to your team or to your management, and just all of a sudden know every version of a software or package that is installed on thousands of servers because you could automate it. That's what the real power of system administration and automation comes in play by writing some code, whether you write it in Bash script or ZSH script or Python script or C, C++, any language that you know, you could write those ones and take advantage of it. So we did cover it, and then let's say I just don't want get anymore. I could say DNF remove get. It's going to just uninstall it, and it is there. I mean, the installation and uninstallation is so easy. You can do it. The last thing that I want to cover is subscription manager. Since I subscribe to this system, subscription. So the command is which subscription manager, and that is a binary file, user bin subscription manager. You can see it's symbolic link to another file called console helper. And then if I just do that one, file user bin console helper, that is an executable file. So I can start that one and I could get it into subscription manager, or I could say subscription manager by itself, and you get a list of all the commands that are optionally available for you. One of the command is just again list. So subscription manager list will just show whether your system is subscribed or not. Since I subscribe it, it shows that there's 5/14/2024, it will end. Then I have to renew it. But before that one, if I had not subscribed it, I will not be able to run DNF or YUM commands from the repositories. So DNF repo list is going to just show me all the repositories that are available here. And then also subscription manager repos list will just show me dash list will just show the repositories, all of them. So this is all the repositories that are there. Again, clearing the screen here, you can see this is a bigger list. And notice that the one that are not enabled, they have enabled 0, meaning that none of these ones are enabled. But if you want to see the one that are enabled, you say enabled here. Repos dash enabled, and you will see the list of the repositories that are enabled by default. So you can get that one. At this time, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint presentation, so that way you could see what else I provide you as a documentation. And I'm going to put the entire PowerPoint as that and the description section of it, so you could see it. and I'm on page 9 here. I'm gonna go to a slideshow again here, and go to page 9 first. And right here, we already covered all of this. And then the on the PowerPoint, I also did ZSH. On the lab port, I showed you Nginx and then Git, and then the presentation PowerPoint, I also did the ZSH. So just it's the same thing, whatever package you want to install. ZSH was already there. I uninstalled it on one occasion, with uninstall, and then install it, DNF install ZSH here. And then after that one, the package is available with ZSH, and then DNF info ZSH, you can see it. And then this is the subscription manager that I want to show you. The part that I highlighted with red, be careful when you're removing or unregistering a subscription. After that one, you're not going to be having access to the remote repository of Red Hat. That means that you will not be able to run DNF or YAM commands to just update your system, and your system will be will be vulnerable with critical patch updates that you from time to time you have to run. And then each of these commands require root. And so the commands for YAM, DNF, and RPM require root privilege, or if you're a non-root user, you need to have sudo privileges. And then the command to unregister it, and I also marked it as red, because if you do that one, your system is not going to be having access to the Red Hat repository, and you cannot just run the DNF update or YAM update commands, or any other commands related to DNF or update or YAM. So that's why the option to remove a subscription, you just do remove --all and register. And if it is not already done, you just run the clean, which I'm showing you next. And then re-register the system. On this one, you're running the register command and refresh command with the subscription manager. And then there's also -- available with list, which I showed you already here. Then you can also do the attach -pool, which I did to attach the pool ID. And then that's how you subscribe your system, which I'm going to show you next on the next page. But before that one, check for enabled repositories. We already showed you that one. Repos -list -enabled, and then to check the available repository to get all of the available that you can later on enable them. You can just say repos space --list in front of the subscription manager. For the subscription manager, repos enabled is equal. You just put the name of the repos which you want to enable. Here I'm going to show you that the system which I had it was not subscribed yet, because after the installation you need to subscribe it. So I run the subscription manager space clean to make sure all local data is removed. And then after that one, run the subscription -manager space register. When you're going to register, you need a subscription account with redhat.com website, and you can see the subscription rhsm.redhat.com port 443, which is secure port /subscription is coming on the command line. You provide your account number, which is either a developer account, which is free, or a corporate account, which is a paid subscription. Whichever one you have, you enable it. The mine, I just enabled it with username, and which you're not going to see that one. Also the system ID, I kind of blocked it, so that is just kind of private information. And then those accounts, you will have your own. And then when you run the subscription manager list --available, it will give you this kind of information saying that what is your level of service type and all the details with the time that it is expiring and so on. And then once I did it, right here, you see the subscription dash manager attach dash dash pool. You have to do that one, dash dash pool is equal, and then give a pool ID in order for your system to get subscribed. After this command, your system says successfully attached to a subscription, and then part of the pool ID is showing, but doesn't matter because the rest of them is missing. And then subscription dash manager list will tell you that the system is already good with until next year. And then right here also on the screen, a pop-up will show up saying registration successful. The system has been registered and software update have been enabled. That means now you're all good to go with YUM and DNF commands. The website also, they have a portal website called access.redhat.com, which is on a secure page, HTTPS. You are welcome to go to do that one. That's a browser based, and it's more kind of like very friendly and easier than just running the commands and knowing which one to run first or which one to second. On the access.redhat.com, it will guide you. And if you have any question, go to access.redhat.com under the Red Hat support and ask them for help. Red Hat support is pretty good. They are very knowledgeable, very helpful. And then also I'm going to show you the subscription manager repos list dash dash enable. That option of dash dash list dash enable is going to show you what is currently enabled. Okay. And right here, subscription manager repos list will give you a general list of all the subscriptions that are available. And I want to thank you very much for watching this video. Please don't forget to go to our channel, subscribe for more. And the website is right here. Let me just go to the website. The YouTube channel is MyWebUniversity free education videos. And I'll post this one with the description attached, as well as you can also go to MyWebUniversity.com, which is thousands of technical documentation on the subject of computer science related courses, whether it's a Unix operating system, Linux, programming languages such as Python, C, C++, awk, shell scripting, as well as operating system like Windows and Mac and Linux and Unix, and technical documentation on those ones, PowerShell and everything else. Take care, have fun and enjoy it, and then make sure that you subscribe so you get the latest videos that I post. Have a nice one. Bye-bye now.